And I'd like to begin our meeting with Mr. Cowart saying our prayer and pledge.
If you'll bow with me, please. Heavenly Father, as we come to you today, we come to you just thanking you for the blessings of each and every one that's here in this room. Those that spend countless hours with our students, spreading love and spreading encouragement. Lord, we know at this time of year that Jesus and the birth of your Son is the reason that we celebrate Christmas, and we ask that we just keep our focus on that, and we're so thankful for him coming and him being willing to die and just serve on, make up for our shortcomings. Lord, as we come to you today and as we finish out the semester, Lord, I ask that you'll just be with each and everybody, all of our staff, all of our students, keep them safe. Let us finish up strongly as we finish out this semester, Lord. And we thank you for all the positive things that are going on. And we thank you for your guidance and your wisdom that you bestow upon us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
To address the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Cowart. At this time, I need a motion to adopt our agenda. Are there any changes before we do?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I move that we adopt the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes to adopt our agenda. Thank you so much. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone that's here, and thank you very much for coming to our board meeting. And also, if there's a time or anybody would like to speak, this is your time. You're welcome to come to our podium and do so. Okay. Seeing no one that wants to come talk to us right now, I'll move on to our superintendent's highlights. And Mr. Cowart.
Madam Chair, thank you. So tonight, happy to have, so we've got Miss Kathy, our principal, so from Cedar Key School. We've got Miss Terrell here, and then we've also got Miss Schneider, so who's come here with us. And they've got some students who I'm going to let them introduce, so, but who are some of our bright young students at Cedar Key. So Miss Kathy, if you come forward.
Thank you for the privilege of allowing us to join you at this meeting tonight. We try to, when we meet the board, share with you the newest and most interesting things going on our campus that you might not know about. And so tonight we're going to share with you some art. We have a new art teacher on campus, so we want to share with you some art. We have a new science teacher on campus, Ms. Joetta Schneider. We're going to share some work her students have been doing. And then Ms. Marie Terrell has brought some writing to share as well. You've got our school improvement plan goals on the wall, and our strategy for this year to accomplish our goals is to incorporate the AVID Wicker strategies throughout the school. So what we did there, Wicker stands for Writing, Inquiry, Collaboration, Organization, and Reading. And this fall we have taken a letter a month, and we focus campus-wide on that letter. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to share with you some writing that Ms. Terrell's done with her elementary kids. We're going to share some inquiry that Ms. Schneider and her students have done in science. And then we're going to share some collaborative activities that we've done in our art classes. So we've kind of framed the new things on campus around our school improvement goal. So I'm going to start with Ms. Terrell.
Okay. I'm bringing my phone because some of the writing is on my phone. Because I need to take a phone call. Okay, thanks for having us. Okay, I brought 3 different types of writing, actually 4, so if we get bored, we can get one more piece out there. But I brought an essay that one of my 5th graders wrote. We did opinion writing, where they have a prompt, 3 different text sources. They have to analyze the prompt, pull information out, organize it, and create their own main ideas and add elaboration. It's not an easy task. But the prompt question was, should dogs be allowed on the beach or not? So this is one of my 5th graders' essays. When most people think about dogs on a beach, they picture getting sand flung on them, dogs trampling on their towel. The truth is that dogs can be perfectly behaved, so they should be allowed on the beach. First of all, dogs should get a chance to go on the beach because they're family. Dogs can provide entertainment for a family on the beach. In source 1, it says, I wouldn't leave my non-fur son at home. If you wouldn't leave your non-fur son at home, then don't leave your fur son at home. So instead, bring him with you, even if it's to the beach. Second of all, dogs make profit for businesses. In source one, it says more dogs on the beach means more humans visiting hotels, restaurants, and shops. This means more money for your town. Now you and your four-legged friend can go spend money at the new shops. After spending your paycheck, you can go spend more money to get your dog another treat. Another moneymaker is buying water. In source 3, it says dogs will get dehydrated, so dog owners need to go to a market and not only buy water for themselves, but for their fur buddies. Without a doubt, dogs should be allowed to go on the beach. If dogs were not allowed on the beach, then family and businesses would miss out. Isn't that great? Okay, this is a piece that Kirsten does science, and she was studying planets, and she was having the kids make posters. And then I, because I'm the language arts person, said, why don't you have the kids write a letter from one planet to another? So this is from one of the 5th graders. Dear Mercury, what's it like being the closest to the sun? It gets cold and stormy past the asteroid belt. What's your average temperature? My average temperature is negative 373 Fahrenheit. It gets really cold on Neptune. Brr. Who are you named after? I'm named after the Roman god of the sea, King Neptune. Do you have any moons? Because I have 14 moons. Past the asteroid belt, planets have many moons. Sincerely, Neptune. P.S. This is what I look like.
That's cute.
That's cute. Then, of course, you needed an envelope to mail to Mercury. And then I have one more. This is more of a creative writing, and it was a book I found over the summer called The Best Part of Me, and it was beautiful. The children would take pictures of just one body part and then write why that's the best part of them. So this was a sweet one. My hands. Oh, my hands, they help me get the 3rd out in softball. My hands also sometimes make my team win. Without my hands, I could not feed my turtles or fish. My magical hands help me flip the pages of my favorite books. My hands also let me do cartwheels and front handsprings. I love my hands because they're strong and useful. Isn't that beautiful?
It's very nice.
That's it.
Wow, thank you for sharing.
I'm going to share, Miss Burridge unfortunately had a conflict tonight, but I want to share her art portfolio, and I'll just pass it down. And we're stalling just a little bit. 2 more students are en route. They thought we were starting at 6:30, so I want Ms. Schneider's group to go last because these 2 are in the car trying to get here. So let me share the artwork that they've been creating. And I was in art yesterday, and their current project is to figure out how much vinegar it takes to dissolve chalk. They're using 25%, 50%, and 100% vinegar in chalk because that's how the ocean and the increased salinity are affecting the coral reefs. And then they're going to see that they're going to make a mosaic of a healthy ocean, which will use bluer colors, to more bleached colors, yellow, and put together this mosaic about the changing coral in the ocean based on what they find out from these different salinities. But this is some of the art they've created so far. I'm just going to show it this way, okay? So this is, again, she's just joined us. So I'm not good at this, I'll pass this down, but I just want y'all to see some of the things they've done. They have changing exhibits in the hall, and so we all get to enjoy their artwork. Autumn, you might be able to speak to some of this, because you're in this class.
Yeah, you just did the one before.
Yeah, her name was there.
What, do you want to talk about? Sure.
We did an impasto style art piece with the lighthouse, and we also tried to do another impasto style. Most of us just used acrylic paint. We tried to copy and make our own Van Gogh's Starry Night version. I made mine inverted colors. This one is mine.
Nice.
Very good.
And then tell us about the Mondrian. Mondrian? Okay. Okay.
In the Piet Mondrian one, we used black, white, and primary colors to make different shapes consisting of rectangles and squares, and took those and made fractions out of them.
Wow.
So they had to have three equivalent fractions, like 1/2 is to 4, and so they had to grid it, get the fractions to work, and then color it according to the artist, to model on the artist.
In this, we took different materials and made texture and different styles of art in the same piece. We made a self-portrait that had half of our face and two styles that tried to like describe ourselves. In this, we tried to like make layers out of the seaweed and the fishes. We made dolls of either ourselves or different characters out of modeling clay and paint.
Oh, very nice.
I'm going to give those close up, but I'll leave them here.
The camera like the first one, it's
I knew
orange and
that
blue.
first one was best.
That's right.
And that was that layered paint, I think, the band building.
So what was that style you said?
What was it?
What was that?
Impasto?
Osco?
Was it impasto?
Impasto.
What does that mean? What is that?
It's when the paint itself has a thicker texture. Some even add sand to it, so it sticks up and adds texture to the painting instead of just being flat.
The more 3D kind of look.
I have learned.
Sweet.
Nice.
Wow, that's neat.
I know, it's beautiful.
It's cool.
Huh?
Make this one with the pink.
I think it's cool. I couldn't do that for nothing.
Me neither.
All right, girls.
That's cool.
At the beginning, we were making prototypes of regular white tissue paper that were a lot smaller than our original balloon designs would be.
So they do not know what your project was.
Oh.
Or your names, or your names. Let's start at the very beginning.
Okay, so I am Autumn, and this is Ollie. This is Claire and Bella. They will be making their way here soon.
Madam Chair, if
Yes,
I
sir.
might offer, since we've got two, if maybe we could put a pause on this section right now, and we could go ahead and handle some other board business, if you guys would be okay, and that would give them a few more minutes to show up.
That would be great with us. So we'll just hold on and finish a little bit, and then we'll come back to you.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
That way we,
Yeah, get in.
Okay?
Down in the end?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Pass it down. Very good, Art. Thank you for sharing that. That's very nice. So I'll move on right now to item 6, our Master Board Program. Mr. Cowart.
yes, Madam Chair, in the past years, and as long as I've known, so our board has participated in FSBA's Master Board training, and with us bringing on Mr. Whitehurst, so it's an opportunity for us to basically come together and it's a leadership and team building. So for those that are not familiar with it, and because of us only having one person transitioning off our team, so with board members and myself, that we have the ability to do a 7-hour reinstatement program. And I think it's always been a beneficial thing for each of us in understanding our roles and responsibilities and how we work together as a board and a superintendent for the betterment of Levy County. So I would just put it as an actionable item for you all, for us to have the opportunity to continue on and be reinstated as a master board. So
Thank you. Do I have any questions or discussion about that?
Do we have any idea when that would be? And would it be here? Or?
it would be here. So yes. So I have not. I think we're trying to get on the books so early spring. So.
March 6th.
January or February, so
Yeah.
was what Tina had communicated, so.
I think it's important we should do this, especially for Mr. Whitehurst.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
Okay.
Not necessarily for me. I already know that.
I know.
I think probably Mr. Whitehurst might need more than 7 hours. And it looks like we're all in agreement. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we participate.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We will go with that, and I think at this time we are ready for our presentation, so we'll start over and please introduce yourselves and come up and present.
getting organized, I guess I can say something. So they, this was an inquiry lab where they were challenged to build a hot air balloon and test it and fly it. And it's the engineering design standards for 8th grade. We incorporated it with the park motion, density, and now we're starting forces, and we're seeing where that fits in as well.
So if you'll each introduce yourselves to the board. Start with Claire.
I'm Claire Ryan. I'm Bella. I'm Marla Fine.
Autumn Sigler.
Okay, go ahead, girls. Thank you. Very nice to meet you.
As I said earlier, we made prototypes out of regular white tissue paper. We are trying to make successful hot air balloons, but a miniature type because we're not actually trying to float. We're just trying to float the balloon. And we're trying to get it to go over a building to actually prove that we got it to float. We are using a heat gun to create hot air into the balloon to make the air less dense on the inside than the outside air so it flies.
We can move the, yeah, I forgot. I'm supposed to tell him when to move the slide.
There you go.
Temperature was one of the great things about this. We just needed to know, so we came up with the conclusion that it needed to be 30 degrees higher than the air outside and the room temperature, so it'll fly.
One of our main struggles was probably identifying the temperature and trying to get like the right amount of stuff. Like we would make miniature ones and sometimes the top wouldn't be all the way, or we'd make big ones and the top still wouldn't be all the way, but we had to find that perfect amount where we could have our course.
To construct the hot air balloon, we made it out of tissue paper, which you can see we just glued together each individual sheet of tissue paper to make it bigger, and then we used for the bore, which is the individual parts of the sections of the hot air balloon. We used a stencil for that, and we just cut the stencil out of it. Actually, I think we have the stencil.
Do I have this? I didn't bring your stencil.
But there's hot air balloons. Well,
They made their own stencils.
yeah, we got our own stencils, which we just used to cut the gores. And the gores are each individual little flap here. The first hot air balloon we did, we figured out that tape was too heavy, so on the second one we just used glue.
This is one of our failed attempts.
So when it failed, tell them what you started doing.
So one of the things we did was, as you can see, like this little white thing on the bottom here, that was our skirt, and we all realized that it was a little too heavy, so we just started cutting them.
We also made a conclusion that there was a lot of holes in the balloon, and they started to rip even more.
So we had to be a lot more careful when we were making them.
And this balloon was, our first balloon that we made was actually a little bigger than this, which we figured that if we were to make it smaller, it'd be, like, that one was kind of a failed attempt, so we decided to make this one a little bit smaller to make it a little bit more manageable to create. But Ms. Jordan and I were thinking that perhaps if we were to make it bigger, we could make it fly even further, because there's, like, we just have to do with math for it, figure out the ratio for the temperature of the air outside of it as opposed to the air inside the balloon. Like for this we found we need a 30-degree temperature difference for the air outside and the air inside the balloon. And so we were thinking if we we just had to do the math to figure out that ratio.
And they got this one to fly a little bit in the classroom.
Yes.
And considering we got it to fly in the classroom is hotter than the outside air would be, so we have a pretty good idea that's what it's fly.
So we're gonna do it some more too.
That's awesome.
That's
Good job. Really good. I love the hands-on. It's like what we had growing up, that you don't see kids doing that. Like we used to go out in the parking lot, or may not remember the math part of it. I certainly don't, looking at that page, but you remember going out and doing things with your teacher, and velocity and physics. It's so important. Cedar Key's always so neat like that. You guys are just the little artsy science brainiacs of our county. So anyway, that's a good job, girls.
What grade are y'all in? And how old are you and what grade?
All four of us are in the same grade, and we are all 13.
8th grade.
8th grade?
Did you get one to fly over a building yet, or not yet?
We haven't tried.
Okay.
We haven't taken this one outside, and 2 more are being constructed. And you'd be so surprised how fast they can make balloons now. They're like, give us that. They got stages.
Do you feel like with ambient temperature being cooler now, you might be able to get it to fly, or you might be able to heat the air up more?
Right, we, at first, so I had worked in West Virginia before I came here, and I have flown these balloons in the wintertime. It was not a problem.
Right.
Yeah, we went outside, and we were like, now what? So it was true inquiry. We're problem solving, and so we did some research, and they practiced, and they had a pyrometer, and they checked when the balloon started lifting. What was your temperature difference?
It was 60.
Yeah, they had a 60-degree temperature difference in the classroom when the balloon started lifting. So they're excited to go outside and do it now with others.
85 degrees is kind of hard to get. Too much different temperature with heat gun to probably get it.
Well, we built, now we have a little chimney that goes on a little, sort of like one of those grills, or it's a burner with a grill burner.
Okay.
But now we have that, and so we'll see.
So that does sound interesting. I hope you'll video it again and bring it back and show us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very nice. Well, thank you all. Thank you very much for sharing, and we're very excited about what you're learning and doing in school. So that's nice. Thank you.
Girls, we normally don't have our person who takes great photos, so here, but could we have you guys come forward? I'm going to have Miss Hanlon, so take some pictures with you guys, and while I'm going to ask some questions while you're coming forward. So yeah, let's get your balloon, and Miss Boyle, bring forward.
Bring the balloon.
Don't forget the purple.
Y'all come right up here in front.
Dr. Hanlon takes a terrible picture, but we're going to make her do it.
Those shorties are going to have it done. Not going to be long, yes.
That's pretty cool.
Nobody's dying to see me in this picture.
I'm actually kind of getting I'm friends around the friends.
Oh, you do? Can she hold that up? That's okay.
Got any speed getting here, did you?
Big fish.
Well, don't admit it if you did. That was really why I was asking for their age, because they didn't drive. Mama drove that.
Yeah, no.
Miss Kathy,
Mama couldn't speed.
do you still do the rocket competition? Do you guys still do the rocket competition?
No.
That was so neat.
There we go.
All right, girls, I'm going to put you on the spot. So, Claire, so I think I know the answer to this. So, has everybody started in kindergarten and gone all the way together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So, Claire, who's your mama?
Amber Ryan,
And what's your mama do?
she's a first grade teacher.
She's a first grade teacher. Okay. Bella, who's your mama? What'd she do?
She's my algebra 1 teacher.
She's your algebra 1 teacher. All right, good deal. So,
Well, wait, I've got one I can top.
okay.
Ollie, who was your mother's kindergarten teacher?
You.
Jerry, y'all did a terrific job. Thank you so much.
And I think it's great. So, Ollie and Autumn, so both your parents either went to Chiefland or they went to Cedar Key. Your dad, Jeffrey, went to Cedar Key, so got a lot of deep roots right there, and 4 great kids. So, and so who else? What'd you guys do today? So did you do anything else today?
We had OCs. We went to district.
Gotcha. Good deal.
Well, thank you all for being here, and you are welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting, or you have something to do, you're welcome, you're excused at this time.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for coming.
And we do thank you for the massages.
Yeah, I passed it on
That's
down.
what that was.
I did.
I didn't know what
I don't know where
I
it's at
was
now, but I did pass it down.
My faculty loved it.
Yes, thank you. So what did, I'm clueless on that thing.
So,
Kaylee can tell you about
Madam Chair, we had some dollars from Blue Cross and Blue Shield that we could only spend on wellness, and you know how we do walking challenges and whatnot. So, Miss Kaylee came up with the idea of us being able to have a mobile massage person. We know how stressed our staff members are, so each school and each site has had the opportunity to have mobile on campus, so massage, and they have a 15-minute massage, so courtesy of you guys. So,
Well, that is very nice. I think
That's
that's
pretty
extremely
sweet.
thoughtful, and that's nice, and I'm glad that they get that opportunity. Great.
Do you get a
Good to know.
swing by here too?
And that's what I was about to say, did the district office get it?
they did, yes. So we were able to participate last week.
And none of us went into work.
Obviously, that doesn't apply to school board
We're good.
that are only like a mile away.
We're going to move on to our legislative platform and our proposal. Does everyone have that in front of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any comments or any other suggestions or any discussion?
Are we gonna narrow it down to 3?
Yes, Ms. Clemency. So that is what I would love for us to narrow it down. I will share at FADS the number 3, which is probably the most beneficial to our district, probably will not move very far. So there's not a whole lot of appetite for that. So.
Okay. Do I have someone who would like to make the proposal for the top 3? I certainly, and I like the mental health funding. I think that's critical in things that we see in our schools. I do want to keep that one.
Was the School Boards Association that part of their platform too?
Yes.
It was, on both sides.
Can we, now is it possible for us to piggyback on that and then have 3 of our own? I believe mental health is important.
Right.
It will be on FADS and FSBA's platform. So I think there are things every year when you've gone to meet with legislatures, you have both the FSBA platform, and so you have the ability to talk on those instances. I think there are going to be things that are going to help the district, but it will be a more global statewide. So.
Well, I think the mental health funding, I don't want to discount mental health funding. I'm saying we piggyback on that and we have our 3. You know, we mentioned, hey, we're all for that. These are, and it is an important thing here, and if that's fine with everybody else. I'm big on I agree with Mr. Coward. I don't think anything's going to happen with the reduction of the district's participation. They'll just be beating gums for the purpose of their talking. But the assessments, if we're going to have those assessments, make them fair. I don't think there's tremendous jump going to happen there. So the bottom 3 are the ones that I really think are important. That the allocation, it really needs to be more than $250,000. Let's get our folks back in here before a year. And then the internet technology, Chromebook funding. If we're going to keep going that way, these things are going to die. We're going to have to buy more and more and more. And right now where we're sitting, we can't buy more and more and more. So to me, those are all, I think all 6 are important, but me personally, the bottom 3 are my personal ones I think you can see movement on. I think that, personally, I think those are ones we ought to beat on. But
I agree
I'm
with
with
that.
I'm with the group.
I agree with that. I mean, when you have in one school, we're lacking 6 math teachers. We need teachers to come back. I mean, I think the bottom 3 are real specific to Levy County.
Ms. Boyle?
We can definitely piggyback off the mental health side of it through legislation. And I know the FSBA legislative group is actually putting templates, and they had those last year. So I even carried a couple when Ms. Clemenzi and Mr. Etheridge and I went up there. We carried them into the offices, and they were helpful. I know during one of the meetings, they said number 5 would be kind of opening up a can of worms if you brought it up. Mr. Cowart may know more about opening up that can of worms based on that. I just know one of the lobbyists was in Crystal River that day talking about that, so I don't know what kind of information that would bring, or another part of it that you don't want brought up. I would have to go with number 2 and 4 and 6.
Okay, Mr. Whitehurst?
I agree with Cameron as far as, I guess, mental health. I mean, that is, I feel like so many issues right now going on with our students and our country and everybody. But if that's, already going to be pushed a lot, then maybe that's something that we kind of let them push, and we kind of, pick some other ones. I agree, assessments aren't going away. With a reduction in the meal, obviously that would be something to help us, but if it's dead in the water, I don't think there's no use wasting our time and efforts on something like that. So I think the last 3, 4, 5, and 6 should be number 1. Like I say, we've got all this digital, Chromebooks that we're going to need replacing, and have an internet that's inadequate for what our needs are. And we certainly need all the teachers we can get. And if we can get these teachers that's dropped to be able to return to work for 1 year, then that's certainly something we need. So mine's 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cowart, I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you feel about number 5 with the retired employees?
I understand that there will be some that will be hesitant to it. A couple years ago, it was relaxed and they allowed law enforcement to retire, sit out a month, and come back. The commissioner, it's been brought the last 2 times in June, and then in December a couple weeks ago when we had the opportunity to speak with Commissioner Diaz, he was receptive of it. So the only way that will push is if there is legislative relief. So it will take legislative relief. I don't know that it will pass, but I think it is a worthy cause of sharing the plight of a district that has gone from $39,000 to $46,000 in starting pay, and is doing everything they can to attract new teachers, and yet we still have openings and don't have people who are applying for jobs in education in Levy County.
Do we need to be more specific as far as, return before 1 year? I mean, is it like, you mentioned the 1 month. I mean, is there something, do we need to be, put something out there saying a time frame, or to be more acceptable? You say 1 year, would you say should only be 6 months or 3 months or 1 month? I mean, or is it just pretty much
if
anything is better than nothing?
If the board members would allow, I can kind of talk to and put some feelers out on some verbiage that might be appeasing.
Okay.
So, and bring that back to you. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On that may not have much traction right now. But to me, that's not, you don't discount for that. We may not get it now, but I always like to think we're still looking 2 or 3 years. It ain't getting no better.
Right.
And if we go ahead and start saying, hey, it ain't getting no better, we gotta allow this to happen. Because how many folks are teaching right now that didn't start out teaching, they just need a job? Wouldn't it be great to be able to get back a 30-year teacher that had all this success and knows what to do? And I think it would be, I think it's way short-sightedness on the people that make the decision not to make that possible.
I agree, because with mental health, the way it is, I think we're going to see even more shortages in the future for sure. So think we need to take what we can get. And I've said it the past 2 board meetings, but until the state raises the pay on teachers, because what they're having to deal with, what we see in the expulsion hearings, 46,000 is better than 38, but 46,000 to get punched in the face in a fight in the gym, and all the things that they're having to deal with is just, I mean, I think we're going to see a big shortage in the years to come. So I'm all for number 5.
It's a definite calling.
Well, I do
It's a
agree,
calling.
and I agree with everything you said about the mental health funding, and it is going to be on the other platforms, and it's going to be brought up. And I just disagree with piggybacking on theirs. I like to make a stand and say, hey, this is what we really care about. It's that important, and it's that important to our teachers and what's happening that we see in expulsions and attitudes that I really want to push the mental health funding. But along with, I agree with all the, the 4, 5,
What
and
if we did
6
4?
as well.
What if we did 4?
What if we did 4?
What if we did
so,
4?
And we really emphasize that, hey, they're pushing it too, but so are we. And maybe let's do 4. But I also agree with, I like Mr. Cowart to get back with us on, maybe the deadline and put out feelers. So we're still okay on time. So let's just still table this again and bring it back one more time.
One thing I had, just real quick, the 4 and 6, I mean, those kind of, to me, are teetering on somewhat the same thing.
Yes,
So can
They
we
are.
somehow kind of
Combine
combine
those 2.
that and say, make that 1, and then that leaves us, 2 other ones to choose from, too, and maybe that's where you can, digital, mental health, and the drop, or something like that.
So we're going to
Possibly.
request Mr. Cowart to
Gotcha.
search that out, and then
I
maybe we can combine those 2, so we can't say the 3 points, but emphasize those. And
Yes, ma'am. I will work on that. So they're actually in session this week, so I'll put out some feelers.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other comments on that topic? If not, we'll move to our minutes. Are there any changes?
Yes, Madam Chair. I put our attorney in the executive session last week, but I forgot to put it on the second part, so I'll just make that change.
Okay.
David Delaney's name is going to be replaced with Ayana Hypolite.
Yes,
ma'am. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes with the changes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes with the changes just noted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. I'm going to move on to the consent agenda, and I will start with Mr. Whitehurst on the consent agenda.
All my questions were answered. I did saw that Meredith Stone, the JBE teacher, she was his teacher year at JBE, and certainly going to be missed. She certainly actually, I think about 3 or 4 board meetings ago, actually had a little presentation of her. Dr. Hall did, and she's certainly been an asset to the school, and certainly going to be missed.
Yes, sir, she will. So Miss Meredith is moving close to family to Tennessee, and our Joyce Bullock's loss and our district's loss is Tennessee's gain. So as much as I tried to put the voodoo hooks on the house sale, so it didn't happen. So but what a resource and wonderful teacher she's been for Levy County.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms.
All my
Glenn.
questions were answered.
Okay.
All
Mr.
my
Aswell.
questions.
Ms. Boyle.
Fine, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. And I had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Cowart as well, and I do not have any comments. Do I hear a motion to approve our consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent passes. Thank you. The finance agenda and items, do I have any questions? Do anyone have any questions on that? Do I hear a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Finance passes. Thank you very much. Mr. Cowart.
Madam Chair, I think tonight we had the opportunity to see from 4 wonderful students at Cedar Key, and I won't steal Ms. Boyle's thunder, but I just think it's even more fitting in this time in the season that we are, coming off of being in Tampa, and each and every one of us being there for the betterment of our students and our staff. and going through the process of trying to research things to bring back, to try and do continuing ed and find ways that we can not only improve our students and our staff lives and educational, but also each one of us individually. And I think we're very fortunate to have our board attorney there. So, and he was presenting down there, and I think that's representative of the educational experience that he provides to us. So appreciate of Mr. Delaney also. You know, we're at a point where, you know, I did mention it's Christmas time. Our staffs are sprinting towards the finish line. Our students are sprinting towards the finish line. Dr. Hanlon, and myself, along with Morgan, so Mr. Lott, everyone here are trying to keep our kids on task. So we've got some kids that still have a ways to go to get across the finish line graduation-wise throughout the district. So we're just trying to keep everybody focused because as evident tonight, we do have a season of apathy and students who do not recognize the value in their education. And as the saying was, by those individuals, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I think that was no more evident than what we witnessed tonight in an executive session. But I know that we have staff that are going to continue to love on our kids and do what's right, and that each and every one of us here keeps that first and foremost in our minds when we make decisions. So sometimes that are decisions that are not well received. So thank you each and every one. I appreciate you, and just I wish each of you a Merry Christmas if I do not see you before, and a Happy New Year. So
Thank you. Mr. Wires, board comments?
First of all, I went to the conference. I didn't know what to expect being a new board member, you know, and I was quite enlightened. It certainly was good to see what other challenges other districts are having, and you know, getting to meet new faces and network a little bit, and you know, it was very interesting. I was quite impressed with the whole thing, and very glad that I was able to participate in it, and just came away refreshed. Or not refreshed, I guess, because I haven't done it before, but just kind of with a new light on a lot of stuff that, you know, and see, like I said, the challenges that we have aren't unique to our district. So it was good to, you know, see other people's solutions too. And like I said, Mr. Cowart said that, you know, come away with some good ideas that certainly we can look at maybe implementing right here in Levy County. I know basketball's in full swing at Williston, and soccer, so they're going along right there. FFA club districts were today right here in Bronson, and a couple of Williston kids on the middle school team was able to get first. Brooke Shancy for extemporaneous, Stella J. Fugit for prepared public speaking, Annabelle Whitehurst for the Creed. And
who's that?
Who's that kid? I don't know that kid. Her daddy something.
Her mama went to Bronson and that.
Yeah, and her mama did it. And even did it Bronson today. Yeah, brought it home in Bronson. Yep, and then the Parley Pro team got first middle school Parley Pro as Ford Fugit, Collins McGowan, Macy, I can't pronounce that last name, Charlotte Rollerson, Carly Bertrand, and Teeny Lewis. So proud of the FFA doing that. Like I said, they're all good kids. I, you know, personally know most of them. So, and certainly one of them I know real well. She's been working hard on it, so I'm glad to see her represent Levy County. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mincy.
It's just a busy time of year. Yankeetown's playing Bronson, or they played them at 4 today. Yankeetown sending 2 to the spelling bee. We have, what do you think? They placed, I think, placed in extemporaneous speaking, got 2nd place today, and 3rd in opening, closing, OCC maybe? I think so. I have it on my phone too. Get it right, hold on. second place in extemporaneous public speaking, and third in opening and closing ceremony. So that's a big deal for Yankeetown because FFA hasn't always been a part of their campus. Yankeetown's having their big float this coming weekend, their Christmas float. Last year was an Elvis theme. I'm telling you, it's pure entertainment. If you ever want to ride down and witness the Yankeetown English float or parade. Big luncheon coming up to celebrate Christmas next week, and that's really it. Parliamentary procedure, Williston Senior Chapter got second, and my boys were on that team, so that was a big deal. For our whole county today, it was just a big deal at sub-districts, it always is, so proud of everybody. That's all I have. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Aswell.
Once every so often, they have the FFA sub-districts in the best possible place, Bronson.
Oh.
And naturally, they did a great job hosting. We know that. And my congratulations goes out to former Bronson FFA member Annie Whitehurst for her child's good work and kind of offset that whole Williston thing. Also need to congratulate high school extemporaneous public speaking champion Carson Meeks, who he gets it from his neighbor. So we're thrilled with that. Also, Bronson FFA has qualified for the in-person state dairy judging competition by placing 4th in the preliminaries. So we're proud of all that. Basketball is all in full swing. All these things are going great, and those are good times. And also, I've said this before, I'll say it again. You see them kids in them blue and gold jackets. They don't ever make expulsion hearings. They don't. They speak with respect, as we've heard, and they gain respect. You can't help but expect it. I think it's a good example of what to do, and I'm always thrilled to death when I hear, I like giving whoever sits in the Williston spot a hard time, because I saved a woman from Williston and married her and brought her to Bronson and made sure she had good children that knew they were Eagles. But whatever. But Williston, Bronson, and Chiefland have this huge history of FFA. I always enjoy hearing the Cedar Key and Yankeetown things because those are new chapters. Right. These are not chapters that came about in the 20s. These are chapters that came about recently. So I like hearing that they do that. It's also great. We had those Cedar Key kids here today. Isn't it great to see kids that are engaged, especially after we see people that don't know this? We have those expulsion hearings and things, and you see kids that aren't engaged. Lord, it's a world of difference. The way they carry themselves, the way they act. And I'm always fascinated when we have these things. We don't have hard rules to follow. They're quite simple. And so I'm always fascinated. Why is it so difficult to just follow some very simple rules? But we can't go down that rabbit hole. First thing I need to mention, this past week, longtime Bronson High School principal Mike McCaskill passed away. He was my principal. He was your principal. He was your principal. Mr. McCaskill, anybody ever took marine biology, he's the reason. Mr. McCaskill started marine biology here in Levy County. There's tons of kids during his time learned to be scuba divers and had a big time. And he was really a brilliant man. And I hate to say this, but I will admit it about myself, the first part of this. Every principal that I ever have to deal with, I use him as an example of what a principal should be. Some have met it, some have not. But I can remember, here was this guy that when he was the principal at Bronson High School and I was there, you knew to behave, but you also knew he cared. You knew he expected this, and he wasn't going to take this. And it made everybody feel like it was great. And at his funeral, I heard about how he was this great guy to work with. He was an educator his whole life, and it was really amazing to have had that man in my life for a very brief amount of time. But he left a tremendous impression on me, and I will never forget him. And my heart goes out to his family. And as far as I'm concerned, he was a great Eagle. He may have come from Dixie County, but he had sense enough to come here to Bronson, and he became an Eagle. The other thing I would like us to consider, and we have always had it in this one spot, But I would like for us to consider moving public comment to the end of the meeting. And my reason for this is, for number one, you know, we meet at 6 o'clock. Some people may not can get here. Give people the opportunity to get here a little later. Also, we have business that we need to get done. And sometimes we want people to come and we want people to bring their ideas and come talk to us. But sometimes it gets a little heated. And we have to postpone hearing these kids or having to make a decision on some issue. And I think it might be something we should consider moving to the end. I don't know if that's feasible. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I don't know how it would work out. But I just thought we might ought to consider it. So I'm just throwing that out there as an idea. The last thing I'll leave you on this. It had been over a year since I had been to the school board conference because of life. And I have said this before, I'll continue to say this. I don't like going. They have certain classes, some are boring like David's class. Some are great. But I get there. I dread the going, but when I get there, I always learn something and I always enjoy myself. And I got to think about, and to me it is important to go to that, not for those breakout sessions, not for the opportunity to talk to some guy from Broward County who absolutely sees the world differently than I do, but for the chance for 5, 6 people who the only time we ever get to talk to each other is here. And we can only talk about business here. We get to talk and be people. We get to joke. We get to bond up. And people are always saying, well, Levy County, they get along really good. You know, we hear about this. I think it's because of things like that that we create this bond, that we actually like each other, we respect each other. It's not just, well, you know, he's always going to vote that way, and he's the guy that does this, and she's always going to be that. We're people. And it's that time to get to be people. And we went out to eat together. That was great, except one of us can't drive. And we had that camaraderie, and I appreciate that with y'all. And I look forward to going back in June, and I'll go ahead and vote. I think we need to try to go to Charlie's.
Amen.
That's all I have, Madam Chairman. I think that's enough, don't you?
That's great, Cameron, that did it. Oh, let Ms. Bull have a turn.
I can't even follow that.
You make reservations for us.
I guess I'll roll right off of that statement. The conference was great, and it was nice to be in those breakout sessions. I remember back as a newbie, it was hard to look around, and everybody was new. But this time being there and looking around and, you know, seeing Mr. Whitehurst, Mr. Asbell, and Ms. Brookins behind you or next to you, it was very nice. And it is nice to hear, yes, districts, some are struggling, and some have good ideas of what they've done, how to get the community involved. That was a really neat session. And it would be nice to sit down and chat about those things. Dinner was great. That was a lot of fun. The Cedar Key kids and the teachers, to have them here tonight was extra special. They really they do so much hands-on down there. It's really nice to see. And if you, just that little bit of art that we saw, if you walk the main hallway, it's just lined with artwork, and it's very good artwork. I can't draw for anything, but they really do a nice job, and it's nice to see. I'll back up and just say thank you to the board for the junior class pie auction down in Cedar Key. Very, very successful for them. I know they raised thousands of dollars for their grade and everything, so that's great. Christmas program is always sweet to see. Mr. Cowart was there, and the younger kids, they can learn songs in 4 sessions. I don't know how they do it, but they were really cute, and they were very involved. And I think that's it. Merry Christmas to everyone, and I wish everybody a Happy New Year, and look forward to January.
That's right, thank you. Chiefland had a lot of accomplishments and some winners in the sub-districts today too. In tractor operations, we had Cade Meeks in preparatory speaking, we had Reagan Barnes. The high school won the parliamentary procedure. The middle school won the opening ceremony. So I'm very, very proud of those students and what things that they're accomplishing through FFA and just the program that FFA is. That's like Cameron said it. We're all proud of that and the things that they accomplish and do through that. Chiefland Middle High School is also doing an algebra boot camp for the kids that needed that extra push, and they're really been focused on that, and I think they're getting ready to take that test, the ones that were struggling and needed it. And as a person who really hated algebra, I'm so happy that they're doing that for the kids and for the students, and I think that's great that they're accomplishing that, and really working on that, and the teachers and all the students. And then I'm really extremely concerned about our cell phone policy, and as a board, and we're pushing that. I want to know how we're helping and what we can do to support those teachers in that classroom. That we made a policy. I want it enforced. I see it as a serious need that we need to enforce that policy. We don't need those cell phones at school. We're there to learn, and it's a short time during the day. I feel strongly that they can put those cell phones down. I've talked to Mr. McClellan, and I think it's maybe new teachers that need a little emphasis and a little push. But I want to know how we can support and what we can do, and if there's anything as a board that we can do to support enforcing that policy. It is a policy, and it was tonight was obvious that that's what needs to happen, and we need to support them.
We met in our last in-person admin, so when we come back from Christmas break, so each campus will have a number of yard signs that we posted out there before students come in the building, and also for our parents to be educated as they're dropping kids off to help make sure. So the other thing that we have the ability is with our mentors, so going in those teachers that are new, so and with our admin's help, of making sure that it's a focus, so especially as we come back off of Christmas break, of making sure our students, as they come together and they understand that these are the rules and these are the expectations of them. So that's been clearly communicated to our admin, both at the school site and with that of the clear signage. Those are the things that we've been doing with them, Ms. Wilkins.
Okay, so maybe you could just come back with us after there's been a time to emphasize and talk, and just let us know how it's going with that. Or meet school and just see how it's doing.
Yes, ma'am.
But could it please not be February the 28th, because I need to be out that meeting. So that'll do my chair today on the 28th. So thank you all. I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, and I also would like to wish a very happy birthday to our Christmas child. And I hope that everyone enjoys family and their time. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.